gentlemen, your host of the Fantasy Baseball Preview Show, Thrills Alexander.
Appreciate it. Thank you to all my loyal listeners out there in YouTube land. Once again, we've got your host, Thrills Alexander, and the Heezy Fasheezy, as the kids are saying these days. So, we are back. We are in week 7 of our Fantasy Baseball Preview Show. Can you believe we're a fourth of the way through the season already? One quarter. If I had a quarter in my hand right now, blink. That's where we're at right now. 1/4, 25 cents, 25%, 3/4 less than a whole. So that's just a fantasy. I can't say fantastic in fantasy world because that's sad. It means our season's a fourth of the way done. We are that much closer to the finish line and that much more saddening. Today we are rocking the Seth freaking Rollins shirt. I don't know if you guys can read it or not because apparently it transposes backwards on this lovely camera right here, but nonetheless, we all know what it says. Overall, last week, 2-3-1 in my preview. I kind of dropped the ball a little bit. Did not predict a tie for some reason. Just slipped my dingle. When actually there could have been 4 different ties. We had an 8-9, a 9-10, a 9-9, an 8-9, and the 11-7, and a 9-7. It was all craziness. That's all I can say to that. I can't believe what was going on. I was looking at that all night long, and needless to say, it was not happening. Couldn't pull out a dub on my part. Sorry, my phone is blowing up with these text messages right now. I'm loving what I'm seeing right now on the Slack app. Let's take a side minute to thank Slack, the new fantasy promoter of fantasy baseball on the BFFL. Slack. If you don't have Slack, where you at? That's all I can say. So it's been a lovely addition, A-Harb. You the real MVP. So, let's move on. Let's get into our previews going forward. Oh, before we do, I guess let's talk about last week for just 1 second. I mentioned I went 2-3-1, but we had a couple trades go down. Let me hit on those. Don't want to overlook those right now. Got to give my due diligence where due diligence is due. So first off, we saw Cookie Carrasco get swapped out for Mike Soroka and a little Hunter Dozier, the one that actually hit a baseball. And as soon as D-Hop requires him, he goes into a funk, like 1 for 14 on his team thus far. Kind of a bummer right there. Soroka, he came out and did what Soroka does. 6 innings, 1 earned, 5-6 Ks. Gotta love it what you see him from Mike Soroka. If you're a Braves fan, he's part of the new age Baby Braves. Cookie Carrasco, all he does is go to A-Hop, pitch a complete game. I mean, it was a 5-inning complete game, but a complete game nonetheless, and he looked fantastic doing it. So, Cookie Carrasco for Soroka and Hunter Dozier. Hunter Dozier was dominating to start the season. Somebody who had never dominated prior stats indicated that was not something that's going to happen. Changed his approach, went analytics, and it's paid off. I can only assume he'll do fine. So, I like that swap right there. In our next swap, we saw a little Billy versus Billy Thrills trade going on. Second time this year. This time we saw Luke Voigt and Pedro Strop get in exchange for Michael Givens and AJ Shitter. No, that AJ Minter, AAA dud AJ Minter. That right now has just been a wash. Strokes on the DL. Givens hasn't pitched. Minter's pitched. He'll be pitching for the Stripers here soon, and Luke Voigt picked up a few walks yesterday, which helped make the score a little bit closer than it was. So another major last week in the trading realms of the world. So let's go forward. This week we got 6 highly anticipated matchups. I can't be any more excited than to get started with our first one here. A team that has come off back-to-back weeks of picking up dubs over Harbor Bros, if I'm not mistaken. We see Mr. Tickles. Actually, Mr. Tickles has been on a 3-game win streak. I believe he beat Big Ant. I believe he's beaten A-Harb, and they also beat Benson Harb, the commish, a week prior to that. So, Mr. Tickles. We've talked about year of the Sav. Maybe it's the year of the stash. Maybe so. I'm liking what I'm seeing from his squad. 4-2, getting complete games. Getting those dubs, gotta like that. Evil Morty, on the other hand, I see this week he's adding some pitching to his staff, picking up some relievers, dropping off some duds like Miguel Andujar, whose shoulder is just about to be taped on with not even duct tape. We're going to go with Gorilla Tape. Not quite duct tape, maybe a little bit better depending on what brand you get, but maybe a mixture of Velcro here and then the Gorilla Tape back there. Maybe squeezing a little Gorilla Glue on the other side. Still got the damn rock solid offense, can't fault that. You look at his team, there's nobody on your team, you're like, I can't believe he's starting him. He's got a great outfield. Got a good best catcher in baseball. First baseman is on lock. I mean, when you have Cody Bellinger on your team and Christian Yelich and Wilson Contreras, not much can go wrong right there. Might need to upgrade in the middle infield in a couple places, but that's for him. I'm not going to tell him to manage the team, especially when he's 3-2-1, sitting over 500 this late in the year. The stash, still loving his Zach rotation. Zach Eflin pitched him last week, picked up that complete game. Gotta love that. I'm liking what he's doing on offense. He is trying to make trades. He just made another trade last couple weeks ago. Always throwing something out there. Offense, pretty solid. Okay, you look at it some weeks like, nah, it's not that great. Put up 120 total bases last week. That's nothing to scoff at. Okay, if you can go over the 120 threshold, you're doing pretty well. And if you're playing some teams, you might only have to go over the 80 threshold to win. I mean, I'm not saying who that is. I'm just saying, it could be good. So this week, I do expect Mr. Tickles Spotted Dub go to 5-2. Jay Cock, you're the stash. All right, let's move on here. Next up, we've got a little matchup of Benson Harbor Commish versus hashtag Gotta Beat Ben. We're talking about Krusty's third nipple. Now, Krusty's third nipple, 2 straight weeks of 2 straight Sunday victories. Sunday night, last at bat of his season. Marcell Ozuna does what Marcell Ozuna needs to do and hits a dinger for him to catapult him over Austin. This week, we saw just barely finish before 7 o'clock, get that dub and decide, I'll just sit my players in the Sunday night game and just enjoy baseball for a change without having a vested interest. I personally don't know how to do that anymore. If I don't have a player in the game, next game. Why am I watching this game? Keep it moving. It's almost ruined the joy of the game for me. Almost. Now, you're going up against a team, Krusty, that started the year 2-0, since then 1-3. Usually a team I look at to be a formidable foe. But this year, not really feeling it. I'm talking about Mike Hager. 1 week his pitching is great and the offense sucks. Next week, offense great, pitch sucks. 1 day, 6 days of the week he's doing fantastic. Then the 7th day he just goes to hell in a handbasket. Squeaking out wins over Austin is not where you want to be, but that's what's occurred the last 2 weeks for teams playing Austin. We saw Krusty and Hager. Both these guys faced Austin in the past consecutive weeks. Mike Hager's team is just, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's all I can say. Krusty's team, on the other hand, I do know it's smoke and mirrors. So I'm going to pick up another mirror for him. I'm inside, so there's no smoke. But find a mirror because that's what Krusty's using this week. Smoke and mirrors squad. Picking up a dub, 5-2 for Krusty's third nip. All right, our next matchup features a little Rocky. A little Behan action. Friends, former Jacksonvillians, J-Bills, Wolfson Parkers, Jackson Jumbo Shrimp, University of Jacksonville Dolphins. All right, ipso facto, Daytona Beach, St. Fernandina Beach. I love some Fernandina Beach. Got to get down with that. All right, so enough with the Florida ties. Let's go right into the baseball portions of it. Rocky picked up a dub last week over yours truly. Squeaked it out 9-8, but really he was in control most of the week. Didn't really matter what was going on. His team was just barely. His team batted .250 and won handily offensively. That's not something to sneeze at. Mike Trout's still doing some major Mike Trout things. His team, although when I think back, I can't really think of anybody that truly BF'd me, but needless to say, Cody's team does what Cody's team does, and that's beat this guy right here. So Cody, kudos on your victory last week. Behan, really expect you to beat Jaycock last week. In fact, I predicted it in my show that you would beat him, but you let me down. You were cruising most of the week, and then I don't know what really happened. It looked like maybe it was back and forth, but you've been cruising with that staff. I really like what you got going on your team. You're not somebody that's made a lot of trades. When you've made the trades, they've been to highly benefit your squad. Starting off the year, swapping out Jen Marquez, getting Joey Votto, getting just some myriad of trades, 2-for-1s, eventually ending with Goldschmidt, who I've got to say I've been quite disappointed in. Started the year super hot, and since then I think he's hit 1 home run since the second week of April. Got to get better than that. Last week you lost to Jaycock, but you would have beat 8 other teams. If you guys don't believe me, go back and double check it. Definitely worth your time. Definitely worth your time. And this week, I think it's going to be a continuation of A-Harb keeping it close, but A-Harb pulling out the dub. I love what you got going on with Luis Castillo and Chris Paddock and Thor coming back, maybe doing some Thor-like things. Not really giving into the geometrics thing. You have far more starters than relievers. I do question if that's something that needs to be adjusted in the future, but we don't really know. So we're going with Behan there. We're 10 minutes in. We've gotten 3 matchups down. We got 3 to go, plus a little show. Next up, we're going with No Hose versus Anthony. We've got our Springfield Simpsons matchup here. The offensive juggernaut known as Anthony, who at one point in time yesterday was 4 for 5 with 3 home runs and 6 RBIs. When your guys are getting hits and they're starting the day like that, I mean, you might as well just sit back, take a load off Al Bundy. I know you guys can't see, sticking the hand right on the side of the draws. Keeping it cozy. Keeping it cozy. Thank you, Home Depot. Busted a hole in the wall. Cut it in there perfectly. Still haven't adjusted it, but it will be adjusted at some point in time in life. No Host Club, kind of doing the exact opposite of Anthony. Your offense, from what I thought was going to be really great this year, has kind of stagnated recently. Not really done anything that great. And the fact that you own 8 of the 5 starting pitchers for the Chicago Cubs is a bit worrisome. But stick with what you know. All right, you see them every day. You've got a leg up on the competition, if you will. But I like what I'm seeing. With everything except the Yu Darvish edition, man. Yu Darvish is unless he learns to throw 280 pitches in a game, he's never going to go more than 7. So you can just hope if he sneezes into a complete game, take it and run with it. But I'll tell you something you're not sneezing into this week, and that's a victory. All right, Anthony's going to be picking up them victories like catching coconuts right there. So I'm thinking Anthony goes to 5-2, no ho. You're back to 500, 500, 500, 3-3-1, the epitome of 5 bills. Next up, we're going to the host of the show, Wonderbat, versus the GOAT most of the show. When we say most, no, I don't want to say most, but I don't want to bash them. So we're going to say the ghost in the victory department, Austin Steed. Now, Austin Steed right there, 0-5. 2 straight weeks of just heartbreaking losses. It's uncanny, the losses that the man has had to deal with. But he's fought through it. He's maintained a level headedness, if you will. I've maintained a Jufroidness, if you will. And well, let me fix it right there for the cams. There you guys go, keeping it pretty. You stay sexy. 0-5 Austin, doing some things that he needs to do, and that is not made a trade with Bill last week. So, good job. Bill couldn't go down to the farm squad and make a deal. Austin still loses, goes 0-5. Wonderbat finally picks himself to win. I picked Wonderbat to finally win. What does Wonderbat do? Nothing more than let me down most of the week with an atrocious batting average. Aside from Chuck Blackman and Carlos Correa, that squad has been nothing short of uninspiring. Wonderbat, though, doesn't need to be anything more than inspiring this week to get past a lackluster Steed squad. Even though Robinson Chirinos has already jacked a ding-dong in this game, matters not. He's still going to pull out a loss and go 0-6, at which point in time the pressure is going to start being on the opponents that follow each week. Who will Austin finally beat? Who can he beat? Is he going to play spoiler down the stretch? Can he make a run like we saw? This is the point in the season last year where Reinhart went on a run. Am I the one that starts the run for Austin Steed? I don't know. Will we find out? Yes, we will. Give it 7 days, maybe 4. Our last matchup. This is the matchup we've been waiting for. The matchup that makes me angry. Saint angry. So might say. Saint anger. That's what we saw in the doghouse there. We saw a little anger. And then on the Slack board, once again, our sponsored by Slack, the best fantasy smack talk app there is. If you're on Slack, you're talking smack. We're going to see Isotopes versus the Red Rooster. Former neighbors, now one has escaped the hood, leaving the other one in the dust. Red Rooster, we've said it's the year of the Sav all year. I'm thinking it's more a year of the same, man. Like, I'm not inspired by your squad. This year DeGrom sucks. Juan Soto is really having a sophomore slump. Austin Meadows has been just a key cog in your lineup that desperately needed it. Isotopes, on the other hand, he has cogs out the wazoo. His main pick up Glass now he's Glass no. We've got Bieber still doing work. We've got Bregman yesterday crushing it. 2 dingers, 5 RBIs. What more can you ask for from your third baseman? I love what we see from that team. Byron Buxton turning it around. He's got a good squad in Springfield. Unfortunately, the records indicate that they're 2-4, so they're not really that good. I don't know. Is your record truly what you are? Is it going to go in stiff competition? That's been the question. Has he faced diabolical dudes each week? Actually, going back and looking at Reinhart stats, he's faced dudes that have just put up mediocre weeks, and he is just kind of crapped out. I don't foresee a crap out this week. I foresee an Isotopes victory over the Sav Dog. Sav Dog, go back to the doghouse with your tail between your legs after this one, my friend, because Isotopes goes to 3-4, while the Rooster goes to 4-3. Cock-a-doodle don't. as they say. So, that brings us to an impressive 6 matchups down. Wonderbat with the dub. Crust with the dub. Topes with the dub. Tickles with the dub. Big Ant, oh my God, with the dub. And Behan with the dub against Rocky. So we've got a great week to look forward to, boys and girls. Before we go, I just want to say 2 weeks left until summer vacay. I just want to say July 14th through 17th. Me, Alex, other guys, we're coming to see you, Billy. We'll see you in Chicago, you son of a bitch. Let's do it up. Thrills.